So the venue for the paintball was here. Here's the river, and here's the takeoff point. And they're all taking off, and I finally am able to take off. And now I have to fly across the Ohio River with 75 pounds on my back. And the controls are in your hands like this. Only in this hand, not only do you have a control over the kite, you have a, forgive me for the expression, a dead man's throttle for the engine. When you release the engine and the engine shuts off, that's when the kite loses momentum and you land. I'm over the Ohio River. I'm in a 5-point harness with a kite over my head. And I'm looking down not only at the Ohio River, I'm looking down at power lines, which if you touch, you become barbecue, which with a little vinegar would fit very well with Tennessee barbecue. Looking down at that, I got a little nervous. My hand got wet. And the dead man's throttle began to slip. And finally, I had a little finger over the dead man's throttle as I was going over the Ohio River. Finally, I landed and we continued the paintball. So flying is in my blood. I know heights and flying and all means of flying. But even so, every time that jet liner goes like that, and buried in our thoughts, and especially one of my daughters, who somehow has gotten a phobia about flying, she thinks it's going to crash. So a lot of people must feel that way. Every time the air, like water, becomes turbulent, it's no more dangerous than a boat on turbulent water. The plane just rides the air. But buried in all of us is the feeling, if we were meant to fly, we'd have wings, wouldn't we? What are we doing up here at 30,000 feet? So I think that piece of film, that Twilight Zone, applies to that fear that we all have of flying. And the little gremlin on the wing is like our fear. I think that's why it's remained popular. It's just excellent writing and not anything that I did. On the other hand, maybe it's everything I did and the writing is terrible. You can have it both ways. I need another question.
I've been wondering, or had this question for 20 years. When you played Kirk's death in Generations?
When I played Kirk.
In Generations,
in Generations, yeah.
You played the death scene. What was your thought process on how to play that scene? What did you mean by, oh my?
Oh. Well, I've done a one-man show. I was on Broadway for a bit of time with my show, and then I've toured it around. I'm sure I came to Nashville with it at one point. And in the show, I talk about that very point. So if any of you have seen the show, forgive me if I'm repeating myself. So the producer said, we're going to kill Kirk because we think that the next generation will make more money at the box office. And I said, why? Why do you want to kill the guy? Well, the box office and the expenses and the budget and the box office. So I said, okay. And they said, you want to be a part of it? I said, yes, I'll be a part of it. So, sometime earlier, I was on a young horse. You wonder where these things are going, right? But in your confusion, you'll stay in your seats. So, I'm riding a young horse. I shouldn't have been on the horse, but I was on a horse in an arena, and something disturbed the horse. The horse reared in the air, and I fell over backwards, and I was grabbing the horse. Then I'm looking up, and the horse is falling back on top of me, and I'm dying. And the horse falls to the side and wrecks my leg. But I'm okay, and I go to stand up, and I fall down. And I go to stand up, yeah, fall down. Fall down. The guy jumps on me. Says, stay down. We've called an ambulance. I said, don't call an ambulance. He said, you could be bleeding inside. I said, call an ambulance.
Is that true?
So, they take me to the Humana hospital, and the doctor said, would you go, this is for the children, make pee-pee in the bottle, in the men's room. See if you're bleeding inside. I said, if I could walk to the men's room, I wouldn't be here. So he closes the curtains around the emergency bed, and I'm making pee-pee in the bottle. And a nurse opens the curtain, looks in, and goes, oh my God, I'm your biggest fan. What has this got to do with dying? I will tell you. Just stay in your seats. So, years later, they write a script which calls for Captain Kirk to die. And somehow, and the reasons why are interesting to speculate, why, they call for Captain Kirk to be shot in the back. And I said to them, no trumpets? No timpanis? For the hero of the galaxy? They said, no, you're shot in the back and you die. I thought, that time when I thought I was dead, when I stood up and fell down, stood up and fell down, that's the way I'll play Captain Kirk's death. Now you understand. So, that's what I did. I stood up and fell down, finally losing strength and blood, bleed out they had built a crevasse in which Captain Kirk fell, and they had built a scaffolding over the crevasse. And in every episode of Star Trek that I was in, at one point in time, surely I would come on the bridge, and they would say, Captain on the bridge. I wanted to say, bridge on the captain. But they... I love this man. He laughs at everything I say. Boo! So, the idea of dying has occurred to all of us. Even children have a beginning concept of nothingness. But as you get older, and I'll speak for myself, I'm having so much fun, and I'm having such a great life. I'm healthy, strong, I'm full of passion. I play shows, I do numbers, I've got albums. I got a country music album out there naturally. It's really good. I got a book out there right now. I got an album, a Christmas album coming out in October. Tell you, it's all good stuff. I'm having such a good time, I don't want to die, okay? How do you stop, how do you prevent, somebody, how do you make sure you don't die? That's how you make sure you'll live. So I went back to my room the night before the day which to play that scene. And I thought about dying, my death, and this beloved character was going to be put to rest. How to play it. You know, there's got to be a moment. You know, you're alive and you're going to die. Now you're alive, you're going to die. Now you're alive, you're going to die. Now, and there has to be a moment when we all, at that moment of death, we say, "Oh, cats, I'm dying," and you're dead. How do you treat that moment? And I think we die the way we live. If we live filled with fear, a fear of flying, fear of leaving the village, you'll be fearful. You'll lose your breath, you'll panic, and you'll die. Or if you look forward to the next adventure, maybe you're conscious, maybe we're conscious when we die. Maybe we're aware we're dead, and suddenly, and some people, a lot of people believe in heaven. We're all going to go to a lovely place and see somebody. I don't know what age we see our mother and father. Are they still old when we see them, or are they young? But we don't know. That would be a lovely thing to happen, but we don't know. It's how we die that's interesting. And I think we die the way we live. And Captain Kirk always treated the imminent death by the alien, and he would, the way I played it was, "Oh, wow, look at that. I wonder if he's going to eat me." With awe and wonder. And so Captain Kirk, I want him to die with awe and wonder. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, and thank you very much for being here. I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
I wanted to ask you what you've done that's your biggest regret, and what you've done that you've just been over the top about doing, and also if you have a shat on you.
A shat?
Yes. Do you remember the?
How do you spell that?
The hat from
Oh,
the.
oh, oh.
Do you remember that hat?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
From the
Yeah.
weird.
Actually,
fake
from
movie.
that.
You went to
Shat.
the town. You went to a town.
Oh,
and did a weird
yes,
thing.
yes.
And tricked the whole town.
Riverdale, Iowa.
Yes.
Yes, that's right. Well, that's 3 questions. You're allowed 1. Well, let me see if my short-term memory is so bad. What the heck were the 3 questions? All right. So, what am I most proud of? Regret. Let's take regret first. I'm sure I regret a great deal. But I think regret is the worst of emotions because you can't do anything about it. You made a decision of some kind that you now regret because you know more now than you did then. Actually, the moment you've made a decision, whether it's you were rude or mean or cruel or didn't take a job or did take a job or met somebody or didn't meet somebody, whatever the thing is that you regret, the moment you've made a decision to do whatever it is you regret, you're already a different person. The instant you make the decision, you're no longer the person you were before because you've done something. And now you know more. Now you know more than you shouldn't have made it. You know that now. There's no point in regretting it because you're a different person. The person you are now wouldn't have made that decision. The person that was before made the decision. We all decide things based on the forces that are on us to make that decision. There's a psychiatrist who thought they could measure how a person would react by trying to calculate the forces that were making them not do something and the forces that were making them do something, giving them a weight. So that if your life was in jeopardy, you might jump off the boat and regret that decision because the boat didn't sink and you did. And as you're drowning, you're thinking, shoot, I shouldn't have jumped off the boat. As you sink below the surface, you're a different person. You're dead.
Yeah, no, it's 1 over.
You and I are amusing me, aren't we?
Yeah, 136. I feel like it's
So regrets are spurious. Regret is of no avail. You can't do anything about it, and you might as well not regret. You might do something about what it was you did that you regret. So I try not to regret. In addition to that, look, I'm my age, and I've got all these things going, but especially health. To regret anything would be just terrible, would be callow of me, because I've got such good fortune. So I try not to regret. What am I most happy about? There's a great deal of love in my life. Family, marriage. I tried to get my Doberman bitch pregnant. Okay? It didn't work. She's beautiful, she's well bred. I thought, I've been breeding Dobermans for the longest time. I've had Dobermans, even had one Doberman named Kirk at the Westminster Dog Show. And almost when the judge went, and he looked at me and I thought, oh my God, I'm going to win the class. And he went, boom, and he chose somebody else. So I didn't win. Kirk didn't win. But I've been breeding these dogs forever. I've had nothing but Dobermans in my life. So I was trying to get my beautiful bitch named Espresso. She's by Starbuck, my great stud dog. And so I said to my wife, Elizabeth, we need to have a puppy. She says, no, we can't. Don't want a puppy, we got all that stuff. And I said, we need a litter. And what we'll do is we'll choose the best male dog, male puppy, and we'll keep that puppy. And we've got Starbucks line continuing. I don't want it. We got it. Bill Liz, we got it. For me, you got it. So during that time, Starbucks, who was 15 at the time, passed. We mourned him, we crooned over him. I saw my beloved dog die. I saw death enter his body. And he'd waited for me because I'd been out of town, and he'd waited for it. He was lying on the kitchen floor, and we cuddled him, and we sang to him. And I saw his eyes glaze over, and in my sorrow, I touched his body and said, don't die, Bucky. And he blinked back death for a moment, and he looked at me, and then he died. 15 years old. But we had Espresso, his baby, his daughter. And I said to this, we gotta breed Espresso. I said, because the universe wants me to have a male puppy. I know it. So we had a breeder in Texas, and we called her and said, we're gonna breed. She says, all right, when the dog comes into heat, call me, we'll ship semen, we'll get. So the way you find out when the female dog, and forgive me, the word is bitch and it sounds harsh, but that's the term, and I'll use it, meaning a female dog. When the bitch is in heat, they have a cycle, and the egg becomes perfect for breeding in a 12-hour period of time. 12 breed this side of the 12 hours, 12 hours later breed on that side, and your chances of catching puppies will be there. So you measure that follicle by getting
This.
on hormones.
What time is it?
So every 2 days, you go to the vet, they take blood, and the numbers like start at .00, and when you get to 5, they're ready to give you bread. But you got to monitor. So I said to the person in the text, okay, I'll call you when we get to around 3 or 4, and then you can ship the semen. This has got to be done in 24 hours. So it's .05, .02 to 1. It's 1. Tuesday. Oh, it's 3 on Wednesday. Oh my God, it's 7. And the veterinarian said, breathe now. I said, but it's in Texas. I knew a guy, 700 miles up to the Russian River. I called him. I said, I need to bring your dog because the universe wants me to have a male puppy. So I got in the car with the bitch and drove the 700 miles on a Friday evening, and she was like now at a 7, and he bred her that night when I arrived. Then he bred her on Sunday, 12 hours later, and then he bred her again Sunday afternoon. Then I drove the 700 miles back. I knew she had taken, and she indeed had. When they had X-rays taken of the dog, it showed that there was life in there, heartbeat. I was going to get my puppy. The universe wants me to have a male puppy. And finally the time came to deliver, and she's straining, and we're at the vet, and she's taking the woman vet taking pictures, and she says, "We got to do a cesarean." So they cut her open to take the puppies out, and there's one puppy. Big male puppy, stillborn. The puppy was dead. The universe didn't give a shit about me. Didn't care whether I had a male puppy or not. It was just going along. We tried breeding her again. She absorbed it, and then I bought a puppy from the guy who had the stud dog, and now we have I guess today, about a 4-month-old, a 4-month-old puppy. 4-month-old puppy with the ears taped and all that, Adobe puppy. So when you say, what is the best thing? Holy cats, I got a puppy that I'm going home to. What is it?
You have accomplished so much.
So much, you wouldn't believe what I've accomplished.
And you seek out things that challenge.
And what?
You seek out things that challenge you.
Yes, challenge.
What is the next thing that you think is
Oh,
going to
well,
challenge you the most? Yeah.
Well, there's all kinds of challenges. Like, this is a challenge right here. It's so spread out, and we could have had an intimate gathering. There's not many people, but I'm looking at, hundreds of seats. That's a challenge. I did a one-man show on Broadway. Just me talking. Well, I didn't take questions. I had a prepared show and had multimedia behind me, but what I did was talk. Huge challenge to be on stage for an hour and a half on Broadway and hold your attention. I had done a form of the show in Australia and in Canada, but then they asked me to come to Broadway very quickly, and I rewrote the show a lot, restaged it, rewrote it, and had no time for previews and opening night on Broadway in a one-man show. Me alone with some pictures up on the screen. The night before, I said to my wife and a friend, we were out for dinner, and I got to be really careful about what I eat tonight, because I don't want anything interfering with this return to Broadway after 50 years, same theater that I had left 50 years ago, the Music Box. So I had a hamburger. They had fish. I was going to eat fish. That could be bad. I had a real solid American hamburger. I was so ill the next day, the day of the Broadway show, that I couldn't leave where the toilet was. Okay? Awful. But I had to get to the theater, so I staggered to the theater, and reluctantly I leave the bathroom, and I go on stage to give the one-man show. I'm in the middle of the show, and I have to go to the bathroom. I've got food poisoning. When you have food poisoning, you have to go to the bathroom. You better get to the bathroom very quickly. I didn't get there quick enough. I'm on stage, and I didn't get there quick enough. And I say to the audience, "Oh well, there's been a technical difficulty. We'll be back in a minute." And I run upstairs, and I shower, and I change, and I come back to the Broadway stage and finish the show. That was a challenge. Next question.
How you doing, Mr. Shatner?
Oh, I'm good now.
Fantastic. Welcome to Nashville.
That's such a pleasure. I have recorded in Nashville. I've done an album with Ben Folds here. Called Has Been, very well received. And outside of Nashville, I did this present day album, which is called Why Not Me, one of the songs in the album, with Jeff Cook of Alabama.
All right on.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I know a little bit about Nashville. I've been here and I worked in it. And in fact, the studio that I was in for Has Been, which I worked with Ben Folds, was Elvis Presley's studio.
16th Avenue, yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I do.
So I'm told they used to roller skate. The guys waiting for the session, while he was doing something else, they would roller skate in the studio. I recorded my album in the same place Elvis Presley did.
All right,
I know Nashville. Okay.
You're welcome here, my friend.
Thank you, my friend.
My question is
Yes.
to you,
Yeah.
sir.
Well, I got it.
You get to talk about Star Trek a lot, or all the stuff that you've been on. You come to these shows, we have people talk to you, you have ask you questions. What is something about William Shatner that you wish that you could talk about more that maybe we don't ask you enough?
Stay right there.
Yes, sir.
Do you think that I would not talk about something that I thought you'd be interested in?
That's a very good point.
Everything I know is spewed out. Even things I don't know comes out. What would you like to know? Because there's nothing, if I could think of something I haven't said, I would say it.
That's a great point. That's a great point. You always speak your mind. I follow you on Twitter, of course.
Yes.
I have to know, so I always follow.
They're good.
Yeah. So I suppose if there's a hobby, if there's the proud, and that question actually probably addressed it. Some of you about puppies and things. My question would be: is there flying, puppies, kids, horses, something that you wish that you get to talk about more that maybe when you go to a convention you just don't get to talk about?
Well, I understand that you're interested in Star Trek and some of the
Sure.
But also I would think that'd be interesting to get a vote on it, I suppose, is that you're interested in what I'm thinking, what I'm doing, and I'm interested in talking about that as well. So if I just came from Las Vegas, I came here yesterday from Las Vegas, where I was competing in a horse show, a ringer horse show, and for the last 4 days, I've been sliding and rollback and fast and slow circuit. I've been competing with 112 people from all over the country, the best of ringers in the country, amateur ringers, including professionals, and we've been competing. And my horses got a stage fright. I broke started looking around like, good God, what's going to eat me here? And wouldn't do anything. And I took him into the ring anyway, and it was a disaster. But a great